Hello, aviators. Welcome to another Up and Away chill stream. Today we will be discussing REID HILLVIEW's closure. REID HILLVIEW is KRHV, Kilo Romeo Hotel Victor. It is a general aviation airport in San Jose, California. And we will be discussing all about the proposed closure of this airport. And while we discuss today, we are currently in Microsoft Flight Sim 2020, and I will be flying a cross country from REID HILLVIEW Airport to, let's see, Paso Robles. So it's approximately an hour and 15 minutes, maybe an hour 30 for me to actually do some flight planning real quick and enter it in the GPS. But while I fly my cross country, our lovely officers will be discussing about the closure of the airport. And you'll see them on screen just momentarily when I put them on. And I'm going to give it to Nikhil. You can start the introductions.
All right, you heard the man. We'll be discussing that unfortunate news, but just before we get right into it, in case you don't remember who we are, in which case, firstly, how, but also, I'm Nick Hill here, president of Project AVIATE. I'll let the rest of my officers introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm Yuvraj. I'm the vice president.
I'm Calvin, the treasurer.
And my
And
name is
Steve,
Steven.
yeah.
I am flying Microsoft Flight Sim today.
He is also our secretary.
Yes.
Yeah. Let us know when you get when you get our faces on stream, then we'll go crazy.
Yes, I just got my face on stream. And Discord. Yes, your face is on screen now.
Cool.
All right. So, the recent news came in, let's say, around last week or so, that, as Steven said, that the Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors have voted to push forward with plans to reallocate the space being occupied by Reed Hillview Regional Airport. With we're not actually that sure yet. They're still in the planning process of that. But this was decided by a 4-1 vote in favor of pushing forward to close the airport. And what happened was that this sort of came into light after an EPA report from this year regarding lead emissions from several general aviation airports all around California, I think. And they were using Reed Hillview and a few other airports as model airports for trying to model their new algorithm to figure out lead pollution surrounding an airport. And if you're wondering why lead pollution, what is all that, right? Aviation fuel, avgas, right, uses or traditionally uses lead in its fuel. If you notice when you go to a car gas station, you'll often see the word unleaded next to the gas that you see. That's because car fuel is nowadays unleaded, and aviation is slowly following suit. I know it's traditional to use lead in avgas, but we are shifting away from it. There have been many developments in making unleaded aviation fuel, and in fact, not just unleaded, but many other aviation fuel sources as well, like bio inspired fuels that I'm not quite sure the chemistry of, but then also technologies like direct air capture, which is being pioneered ish, but we could see that coming into the industry in around maybe a decade or so, or within the decade. And speaking of the decade, Reed Hillview cannot actually be fully closed until the year 2031. So the airport will still exist until then, but it's so far the way it's looking is that they might close the airport in 2031. But we are obviously, we don't like to see the closure of airports. We're aviators, we're sky gazers. We don't like to see airports being closed. But obviously, there's many reasons, rationales for closing it, as well as some for keeping it open. And we want to have that sort of healthy discussion as we do this flight down to Paso Robles with Steven on the cross country route.
Yes, I
And
am
so
in
yeah,
the
that's
progress of
basically
entering in a flight plan.
on
And I
one
do
of
not.
the most painful
Yes, I have to
GPSs.
scroll to get to each letter, basically.
Such a pleasant experience, isn't it?
I would not say that by any means.
Man, they should have a USB port so I can plug in my mechanical keyboard in there.
That's one reason to why to love touchscreen displays. Although if
Well,
you're
On
flying in
1000
bumpy,
vibe.
although if you're flying in bumpy airs, then you're kind of screwed. You're
yeah,
pressing random buttons.
as Henry attested, trying to fly in even mild turbulence with shaky fingers, trying to hit very specific spots on a touchscreen, it doesn't work out that well. Henry,
Yeah.
if you don't know, is one of the founding members. He helped us create
Find,
the
found.
find found the whole club. Yeah, he helped us create the whole club. He goes to Purdue now on his way to become a pilot. Well, he is already a pilot, but he's becoming an airline pilot. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you
Mhm.
want to learn more about him, what got him into it, it's our first video on this channel. It's our Up and Away intro, where we talk all about what Up and Away is, our lesson streams and chill streams. Oh, and by the way, don't if you're watching this right now and you have no idea what Up and Away is, it is our bi-weekly aviation education series here on YouTube, inspired mainly by flight simulation. We try to approach teaching aviation in a whole new, different way, building from the ground up kind of thing. But you can actually see the results of what you are doing. So you can see the actual movement of your airplane when you adjust its control surfaces in a flight simulator, as well as everything that Steven is doing right now, eventually. And so, yeah, don't forget to check out our lesson streams once you have the time.
Wiggle.
Yeah, this
Just two
route
more
has some
waypoints.
interesting waypoints.
I
You
got
got
King
your
City
Gilroy.
and Sardo next.
Gilroy is obviously a reference to the city of Gilroy, for which the waypoint is. Uh, Wiggle.
Maybe
Well,
we could talk about funny waypoint names that
Oh,
we've
please, dear
found
God,
out.
that
no.
I don't think that's the
I
best
don't know.
thing now.
Hey,
Oh,
Henry's in our chat. We're gonna shout out to Henry, who shouted out to us in the chat.
This is painful. All right, last waypoint, or actually two more.
Can you increase the sound from the sim?
Well, there's nothing running. That's why the engine's not on.
Oh, that's facts.
I mean, the only thing
In
I
a
hear right now
airliner,
it's the avionics
the
fan
high
running.
pitch.
Yeah, the high
the
pitch
avionics.
avionics fan.
now I'm just imagining Nikhil sitting in like a turned off Cessna and be like, "How do I increase the volume?" of this?"
Yeah, because
Definitely
I'm
watching
used to
the
I'm
engine
used to
running
sitting
when
in
the engine's off.
I'm used to sitting in airliner cockpits, right? So when you start
Yeah,
up an airliner, it's not just the avionics fans.
Power is always running. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's the ground power. There's all the crews running around with the carts. There's all the shifting in the cabin, and then the noisy passengers.
You should
I-
call up
stuff
you
like
should
that.
call up Textron Aviation and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't find the volume knob in my 172 cockpit. Where do I find it?"
Where do I increase the ambient noise volume?
Exactly.
Shout out to
Oh, the
Anish,
life of a simulator pilot.
our very loyal club member.
Who? What? When? Where? Why? How? Oh yes.
Anish?
Okay, you've been shouted out. And I'm trying to see if I can get my.
Yes, there we
Hey,
go.
got a route now.
It looks lovely.
The mistake we made in the last chill stream is I was spending 45 minutes of the stream just flight planning. So we're not gonna do. We're gonna try not to make that mistake again.
Okay,
And-
so the proper way to start an engine on a Cessna 172 is by pressing Control E.
Yes, I did
my
know that. I was about to do that, but I'm gonna attempt to actually try to
Did you
start
say
this
the
over.
proper way?
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Steven's gonna show us how to
proper
actually
way, the proper way,
properly start a Cessna 172 engine, like he would in real life.
like
Yeah, but
we've
I
done in
really
the past
failed.
like 5
I
lesson
think
streams.
okay. I think I have to turn off the avionics in order to turn it on for some reason because this sim is kind of weird.
Is it
But
gonna
I'm
remember
afraid that I'm gonna remove my entire flight plan, so I'm not gonna do that. And I'm gonna press Control E right there,
Control E?
and
Okay, never mind.
boom, and boom, we have fired up.
Control E it is.
I'm afraid that I don't want to redo the entire flight plan.
Yeah. I
How long
wouldn't
did that take me?
blame
Like 5 minutes?
Yeah, yeah.
I think
So if any of you
definitely.
viewers want to find out how to realistically start up a Cessna 172, definitely feel free to look at the past couple streams we've done. You'll find it in there. We've been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Steven said, entering the flight plan into one of these GPS units, it's no fun at all. Which is why most pilots today use iPads for flying around.
What?
That
I'm
is,
so
isn't
confused.
that vertical speed?
No, it's just your normal altitude
Why does it go into the negatives? That's
for
a little
descent. For descent, it was set to descent mode for some reason.
Oh.
Okay, is my controller connected? Yep. And let's see here. Can you guys say something so I make sure that you guys they can hear you guys?
Hello.
Testing.
All right, I'm gonna make
Mic
you guys
testing.
slightly louder.
Mic testing.
Hello.
You,
Clear.
Oh yeah, we forgot
I
the
thought he was
close.
Like,
saying it
you
finally
forgot to
loud
say clear
for the
prop?
past-
Dude, have you learned anything in the past 4 streams? No, I'm kidding.
Shout out to Angle of Attack. Clear from. If you guys don't know who he is a YouTuber from Alaska. He does fly planes. He is also a CFI. CFI stands for Certified Flight Instructor.
Interesting.
What does CFM stand for? Like in the engines? Let me look that up.
I don't know what that is.
Good question.
They're an engine maker.
Because I know, not cubic feet per minute. Not ceiling fans. I want
What
jet
were
engines.
you expecting? Oh yeah, I need to pull out all the. There are, so yeah, this stream is about REID HILLVIEW, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me find all the documents that I threw in our little officer
I
chat
guess.
some time ago.
I guess it's just it's a short form for SNECMA.
What is
I
that?
don't know. It's not. Google is not being very clear right now. So apparently the CFM engines, they're a joint venture between GE Aviation and Safran Aircraft Engines, formerly known as SNECMA, which is a division of Safran of France. So it's a French company. So so that was the CFM 56. That was a joint venture by them.
Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra with Kilo request taxi for
Yeah.
takeoff self departure.
Also, once we take off, that's when we'll kick off the discussion, a very heated discussion about REID HILLVIEW and its potential closure. So right now we're kind of just chilling, waiting for Steven to listen to all these voices.
Taxi to and hold short runway 31 right using taxiway Alpha Cessna X-ray Golf Sierra. Tower Cessna Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf
taxiways.
Sierra ready for self departure at runway 31 right. Taxi to and hold short runway 31 right using taxiway Alpha Cessna X-ray Golf
Why do I hear like 5 voices?
I do not know.
Isn't it called what's the word for when too many people talk over each other? Stepping on the radio?
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what it is.
Stepping
Yeah.
on
It's fun to
Something like
hear because
Is it?
all you hear is just
It's
like random
us.
static.
You ever have you ever experienced an air traffic controller getting mad, Steven?
No.
Like in real life? No?
No, I've heard
Darn.
I've seen YouTube videos of it.
Not,
Oh,
not
I'm
yet,
sure.
it happened.
But like
I'm sure there'll be a day.
there'll be a day.
Probably. Alrighty,
Lovely.
go ahead and take off.
Advance the throttle. Flaps are up. As they should be. Don't want anyone mistaking that.
Like how it says taxi speed exceeded.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, don't you have to ask for takeoff clearance in this?
I already did.
Oh.
Dude, you like just
Speaking of
spammed
it,
that
asking
ATC
for
request.
taxi. Incorrect altimeter setting, Steven.
Yeah, I reset it. Totally listened to the ATIS and got all the information.
Yep,
You have
it's
Oh.
broken clouds, visibility -1 meter.
Oh yeah, our call sign is Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra, because I did not change it. That is, I believe that's the default Microsoft call sign.
What is?
ASXGS.
Oh
Alpha
yeah, huh?
Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra.
Asobo Studios XGS. What is XGS? Also, since today's a chill stream, I decided to wear a hat. I can't believe I forgot the hat.
I wish I had a hat.
You should go get one right now.
From Boeing?
Well, I'm not wearing a Boeing hat right now. I'm just
Oh,
wearing-
Wait, what
God.
hat is it? I can't see that. Hold
I'm
on.
just wearing my
Tower
school's
Cessna Alpha
orchestra hat.
Sierra X-Ray
Oh.
Golf Sierra, continue for south departure.
That's cool. Oh, I'm wearing my school's EB guitar hoodie. There you go.
I'm actually wearing an Embry-Riddle t-shirt that they gave
Yo,
me.
Of course you are. Well, you're going there.
Not a flex. Not a flex.
that is absolutely a flex.
That
What are
is
you saying?
100% a
If you didn't know, Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University is probably one of the most prestigious aviation schools in this entire country. And our little man Steven here is going there. And he is the first of all of us to get college decision.
Hey,
So,
I know Steven
that's
is short,
also-
but calling him a little man was very rude, Nikhil.
I call everyone a little man. It's fine.
No,
I think I call myself a little man sometimes. You gotta recognize your humility, your size relative to society. And speaking of your size relative to society, REID HILLVIEW Airport, its size relative to the Evergreen Society is actually
pretty big.
kind of an interesting talking point amongst the anti-REID HILLVIEW argument cult. I shouldn't say cult. Clan. I need names for the opposition. The opposition
Ooh,
and...
let's leave that. Or yeah, opposition actually is a good word. Just leave it.
Okay, yeah. So pro RHV and opposition. We are. You mean take our word for what you will. We are obviously pro airport all the time, but we're going to keep this as objective as possible. We've pulled out the EPA report here that was referenced, and actually let's see if I can find the part where they talk about REID HILLVIEW. Actually, that's a bad statement because the whole PDF talks about REID HILLVIEW, but I need to find the part where it gets interesting. You ever just read an EPA report for fun, you know? Like just a thing you do?
No.
Yeah, I feel like this is something no one would read.
I'm totally a great pilot, not using checklists.
Oh yeah, pro pilot.
Well, I do remember the climb checklist, which is to make sure it's full in, throttles full in, then light off.
Oh,
Engine
wow, look
instruments in
at
the
you.
green.
Look
And
at
boom,
you.
we're on our way.
Memorizing
Uh,
checklists.
I'm actually not even using a GPS. Desired track 131. We are tracking 137. Okay.
How could you
131.
be so far away from the magenta line?
131. Oh, because that's
Okay.
REID HILLVIEW to Gilrow. So, we have to depart off the downwind. And we will switch frequencies to NorCal and we will request flight following.
Tower Cessna Alpha Sierra
Do we do a
X-Ray
lesson
Sierra
on
frequency change.
ATC yet? I don't remember.
We started.
Okay.
ATC.
So flight
Like,
following is
basic ground
basically
commands.
yeah. Flight following is basically when you ask air traffic control to follow you on the radar to your destination.
It's like Big Brother watching you.
Yes.
I mean,
Southwest 4038.
NorCal approach Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra
Is that
X-Ray
real
Cessna
traffic?
Skyhawk
Real traffic?
5 miles southeast.
I'm using live traffic, so it might be
Request
real.
flight following.
Oh yeah. All right. How should we begin this discussion? I've already presented you the facts at the beginning of the stream. If you're just tuning in, basically the Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors. Here we go again. The Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors have voted 4-1 to push forward with closing REID HILLVIEW Airport, which is our local airport here in
Copy
Santa Clara
Cessna
County.
X-Ray Golf Sierra
was in South San Jose, Bay Area. And the reasoning is, or at least some of the primary anti-REID HILLVIEW, the opposition arguments are lead fuel pollution causing health concerns, noise, and lack of significant economic benefit for the masses, I guess, surrounding REID HILLVIEW. Those are some of the primary opposition arguments. And then some of the pro-REID HILLVIEW arguments to keep it open are like, we're already moving away from leaded fuel, which is true. And REID HILLVIEW is used as a Cal State, Cal Fire airport. So we have several planes and helicopters, I think, in Cal Fire.
Didn't the Mercedes dealership across the street from REID HILLVIEW make sure that Cal Fire wasn't using that airport anymore because they were dropping the fire retardant on
That
their
happened?
cars?
Yeah.
Well, I believe it's still used for Cal Fire,
Yeah,
right?
I'm
Like there
assuming
is
that if there's a wildfire, they'll still try to use it until Mercedes complains again.
Yeah,
But
so it's used by Cal Fire. So Cal Fire, CHP, or California Highway Patrol, PG&E, which is our electricity provider, San Jose Police Department, and Cal DART, which I've never heard of, but and the reason Cal Fire is actually really important here is because, especially California, wildfires is one of the biggest natural disaster problems here, and we need all the crews we can get to help fight those fires, especially during wildfire season, which I think we just came out of. Like, we're not hearing of wildfires happening now, mainly because it's cold. All that usually happens in the summer, beginning summertime. But that's really important, and yeah, and CHP, Highway Patrol, and San Jose Police, self-explanatory. You ever see those wild chases where they have the helicopter and then they're chasing the criminals in the cars? It's pretty insane. But so yeah, that's just sort of an overview of the arguments on both sides. There are both fair arguments. There are many reasons to close it, several reasons to keep it open. That's sort of what we want to deliberate. I'm looking through the EPA report that is sort of the smoking gun on all this, the one that sort of sparked the decision that happened last week. Oh, and by the way, this is not a recent issue. The case to close REID HILLVIEW has actually been around since like 2000, which is pretty crazy. That's 2 decades ago. And the airport.
For you.
Yeah, and because so when REID HILLVIEW was built in the 60s, I believe, built in the 60s, right? Someone fact check that for me.
Let me double check that.
Yeah. Or at least it was bought by the county, 60s. There wasn't much residential area surrounding it, so it's mostly open field. There were obviously some houses, but as the community grew over time, as people started, moving here or immigrating here, the community around Santa Clara County sort of blew up, and Silicon Valley is obviously like one of those esteemed hubs of places to live. So that can obviously explain some of the mass movement within the Bay Area. And what happens is when you open an airport in an empty area, and that area eventually turns to be a place that people want to live, because Silicon Valley, right? Silicon Valley boom. Then you get your neighborhood around the airport and all that, and so suddenly the airport eventually becomes surrounded by all these residential neighborhoods.
If I pop in here and inform people real quick. Okay, so
I probably said something wrong.
Yeah, says that groundbreaking for REID HILLVIEW Airport came in 1937.
Oh yeah, so it was bought in the 60s.
Built the Garden City Airport in 1935, which was quickly closed to make room for 101, the highway. And their second site was northwest of the Hillview Golf Course, hence the name. Until 1946, the single runway was unpaved. And then it was a single runway airport until 1965, when a second runway was added, and the control tower actually opened in October of 1967. Wow. So
Yeah,
a lot of
and
history there.
I think that's when they bought it, right? The 60s, like the county bought it.
Well, let me check up on that.
Because it wasn't always a public airport. But yeah, so that's a little bit of Reed Hillview history. Some of the pro RHV arguments are like Reed Hillview was here first, and I personally don't think that's a good argument. And I'm pro airport, by the way. We're all pro airport. I wouldn't say that that's a good argument. But
Yeah,
that
honestly,
doesn't deny the fact. Yeah.
I want the airport to be there, but if the other side has reasoning, which is actually if it's hurting people, then I mean I'd hate to see it go, but I can understand. But I'd still want it to be here.
Of course, yeah. We definitely want it to be here. And I think that many people on the anti or the opposition also like airports, airplanes.
Right.
They just don't know how they feel about, or even we don't know how we'd feel about, the consequences of having the airport there. Especially because Reed Hillview is used for a lot of student pilot activity, and there's obviously the argument that, you know, should you be learning to fly airplanes on top of residential neighborhoods? Although nothing, I believe no major incidents have happened here in Reed Hillview's history, which is a miracle.
124 decibel fight
I say
to
major
Cessna
incidents. There's
X-ray
obviously been
Sierra.
incidents, but it's still obviously a risk, right? And that's the case with any airport. And so that's sort of one of the concerns. It also, but on the other side, Reed Hillview is a very key hub in the Bay Area for flight training and flight recreation, which means jobs for the flight schools that are here, the people in the control tower, people maintaining the airport, maintaining the aircraft.
Wikipedia lists nine FBOs at Reed Hillview.
What's an FBO?
Pretty much, it's a fixed-base operator. The
Mhm.
people compete for fuel sales, aircraft rentals, and flight training. So like aerial avionics, aerodynamic aviation, Aerocord, the Flying 20s, Nice Air Aviation, San Jose Fuel Company, Squadron 2 Flying Club, Tradewinds Aviation, and Victory Aero Maintenance. 9 FBOs at Reed Hillview.
Hey, sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna stop the stream,
Yeah.
like the Discord stream, and I'm gonna restream something real quick. Because
Okay,
the
that's
bit
fine.
rate's kind of low, so I'm trying to fix
Uh-huh.
the bit rate because for some reason when
that's
I
okay.
Yeah,
because
don't
the chat's saying that it's cutting in and out, so I'm just trying to fix the bit rate.
You're good.
Let me see if I can throw this link in the. Oh, wait. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and throw the
But I
EPA
think
report.
it's fine.
Huh?
The bitrate is still kind of iffy.
Mhm.
It's very low resolution right now, but it's whatever. It's fine.
Internet do be like that sometimes.
Yeah.
All
No,
right.
no, because
so,
the YouTube,
yeah.
no, the YouTube stream just buffers a lot, but I purposely downgraded the Discord stream to 480p just to like conserve
Yeah.
some resources.
Yeah. Okay. While we're waiting on that, then, I've just put in the YouTube chat. This is the EPA report. If you're feeling that bored, you can read it. I don't know how long it is. This is the EPA report from February of this year. Yeah, February this year, February 2020, and it's, you see the title of the report: Model extrapolated estimates of airborne lead concentrations at U.S. airports. And
We're
if
a
you
fun
just
bunch, aren't we, here at
Yeah.
Project AVIATE, giving people EPA reports to catch up on.
I know, right? Yeah, so your homework as part of the Up and Away lesson series is to read these 140 foot. No, I'm kidding.
I
That
haven't
would be
even
insane.
said it.
Can you
Hey guys, to
imagine
fix
if
the
we-
bit rate real quick, do you guys mind turning off the cameras?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
sure.
sure, let's try it.
Okay.
Let me restart my
Uh,
Discord real quick. I'll be streaming on YouTube. I'll just restart my Discord. Give me.
I mean,
Okay.
as long as the bitrate isn't coming out bad on
Mhm.
YouTube, I think it's fine on Discord.
Give me 1 second. Because it wasn't happening
Yeah.
yesterday. Because what I did yesterday was I joined the server by myself and I was just streaming, and it seemed fine. Let me
Yeah.
restart my Discord real quick.
Yeah.
Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra 7,500 feet. Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra normal approach. Continue to wiggle as planned. Altimeter tree 0.16.
All right, here we
Welcome
go.
back.
Steven?
hmm So my OBS says I'm streaming 5,000 bitrate, which is fine, but it's red, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
Here, stream Microsoft Flight Sim on stream a screen. There we go.
All right, are we back on YouTube as well?
No, we've been on YouTube. I just restarted my Discord.
No, yeah, are we, like the rest of us, back on YouTube?
I think I'll keep our cameras off. Is that fine?
Yeah, we can do that.
Alright.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. What was I saying? I was about to say something. Yeah, so something I wanted to talk about is, before we get into the whether to close REID HILLVIEW or not, let's just talk about, what might happen if REID HILLVIEW were to close. And I wish Henry was here for this. Hopefully he might be able to show up soon. But, so basically one of the first things that we know is that REID HILLVIEW is a very key hub for general aviation in the Bay Area, especially the South Bay Area. We have a lot of recreational flying going here, a lot of student pilot training, and this airport is used by the local San Jose State University, which is the only aviation flight training program in the public university system in all of California. So it's I would say it's a pretty important place for them, especially for aspiring pilots, which we need. Once COVID-19 comes up, demand is going to come back. So there's that. But it's not just that. When you close REID HILLVIEW Airport, what do you have to do? The first thing you have to do is relocate all the planes. So what do you guys think might happen to all the planes at REID HILLVIEW if we were to close it?
The traffic here. There's Palo Alto Airport, and then there's one in Hayward.
So there are other.
They stayed going there, but I feel like the private traffic would head down south to Watsonville, San Martin.
Yeah, so moving all the airplanes that are at REID HILLVIEW. By the way, REID HILLVIEW is I think it's the only double runway general aviation airport in the Bay Area. Palo Alto has one, San Carlos has one, Hayward has one.
Wait, Hayward?
Or-
I thought Hayward and
Hayward?
San Carlos were the same. Off to Google Maps.
Wait, no, they're not the same. What?
Are they not?
No, they're different. They're on the opposite sides of the Bay Area.
No, Palo Alto is on the left side of the bay.
Palo Alto's on the left, Hayward's on the right.
Yeah, but there's.
Yeah.
I thought you said Hayward and San Carlos.
Yeah, no, their airports have one runway, I believe.
Oh wait, hold on. I think I'm getting the names mixed up.
But yeah, so there's that. But actually I think the opposition recognizes this. It would be pretty hard to move airplanes there. I know Henry had good statistics on this. Let me see if I can find that. But, one of the key opposition arguments is, oh yeah, Raj, you want to go first?
Yeah, no, it's just a dumb thing. I did get the names mixed up. I was calling San Carlos Airport the Palo Alto Airport. That's not the name for it. It's called San Carlos. My bad. Continue.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
As a pilot, I dislike those airports because it is right under the Bravo airspace.
Oh, for San Francisco and Oakland.
Yes. So if you guys don't know,
Yeah, so,
San Francisco airspace is a Bravo airspace, and you need clearance to get inside of it. If you accidentally bust into the airspace, you will get in trouble. And San Carlos airspace and all the smaller general aviation airports that are around San Francisco Airport, they are right next to the shelf, and sometimes they're just basically shoulder to shoulder. And if you accidentally cross over a couple 100 feet, you're kind of screwed in most cases.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
And also, guys, I
San
think I know
Francisco-
why I'm getting low bit rates, because for some reason Discord just not cooperating today, and it's like whenever I screen share, bitrate goes down.
Hmm.
But
You
since
can stop.
I'm just like flying out of like just mountains around, do you mind if I stop screen sharing and you guys can turn on
Yeah.
your cameras, and then
Yeah,
we'll
we
just
can
see
do
each
that.
other again? Cool.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because
Alright.
yeah, I noticed that my bitrate goes back up whenever I don't screen share.
Yeah, that's okay.
Because
We
I
can
was
judge
testing
you
it
then.
yesterday, but
Mm,
for the past few days I didn't get any issues. But I don't know. Today's being weird.
yeah.
Okay. Gonna open yours.
Um,
You guys can continue.
Yeah, and expanding on what Stephen was saying, so San Francisco International Airport is the biggest airport in the Bay Area. It is the commercial air travel hub here in the Bay Area. We have the most flights operating out of that. It's actually the West Coast hub as well. I mean, apart from LAX, but United's main West Coast hub is San Francisco International Airport. We get a lot of traffic there, and Palo Alto Airport, which is near Stanford University, but I don't know if people. I don't know what you're more likely to know, where Stanford is or where Palo Alto Airport is. It's just south of the San Francisco airport, and the moment you take off, you actually get on the approach path to runways 28 left and 28 right. Not the same altitude though, but
That's great. Right on the approach path.
yeah, like seriously, the moment you take off, it's like you're heading. Let me check another runway itself,
Glide slope intercepted.
but you intercept the glide slope the moment you take off. Like, just kidding. No, you don't. You don't intercept the glide slope the moment you take off. To intercept that, you have to be at the right altitude. But obviously, when you take out of Palo Alto, you're going to be somewhere near the ground. Hey, Henry's here. Henry's here.
Oh, no
Welcome,
way.
Henry. Let's go. But yeah. So when you take off out of Palo Alto, though you might not be at the altitude of all of the airplanes that are coming into land for 28 left and right, you still have to watch out for them. There's that. Oh, and San Carlos. San Carlos is closer to San Francisco International Airport. And so yeah, as Stephen was saying, those get really close to San Francisco traffic, so it's hard to move a lot of general aviation airplanes there, especially because Reed Hillview, I read this somewhere, Reed Hillview gets gets more general aviation traffic than San Jose does domestic traffic. Because San Jose Airport's actually not all that busy, or at least not right now. But then again, we can't use right now as context, because if Reed Hillview were to close, it would be in 2031. Obviously, we wouldn't be having a COVID situation. Well, maybe I shouldn't speak too soon, but yeah. So there's that. What I was saying though was the opposition argument is to move the Reed Hillview airplanes to Moffett Field, with Moffett Air Force Base, which is just north of the San Jose International Airport, actually. Actually, before I talk about that, I want to talk about San Jose International Airport. So, San Jose International Airport used to have 3 runways, and the third runway, which was just runway 30, I believe, was used for general aviation traffic. It was a small runway, probably just 100 feet wide rather than 150 feet wide. It went straight to the hangars that are on the west side of the airport, so it was good for general aviation traffic. But then, a few years ago, they decided to close that runway, and now it's replaced with a taxiway. So now all air traffic at San Jose International Airport happens on runways 30 left and 30 right. I'll take off landings. I don't see many general aviation airplanes flying there anymore. I don't think they were ever all that much to begin with, so that might explain, at least partly, why they might have closed that runway. But now, if you were to say, if your argument was, let's shift all the Reed Hillview airplanes to San Jose Airport, there's a few major problems. First one is that we don't have that runway, and that runway is important because wake turbulence is a thing at big airports, and the primary aircraft that fly into San Jose airports are Boeing 737s, Airbus A320s, and Embraer regional jets, Embraer E-jets. I don't think the wake turbulence on those is too much of a problem, but I could imagine it affects, small planes like Cessna 172s, Pipers, Cirruses, because they're all really small compared to those big jets. And if you were to go land right after, if you were to fly in a Cessna 172 into San Jose Airport right after, let's say a Boeing 737 just landed, the Boeing 737, those planes are doing better about this nowadays, but most big airliners produce vortices on their wings, which basically causes turbulent airflow as the airplanes pass through the air. So when the airplane passes through the air starts rotating behind it. And this is not too much of an issue for big airplanes, it's because their wings are spread out over a super large area, so they have a lot of area that they can generate lift from. So if there's a little bit of turbulent airflow here and there, it's not too big of a deal. But it's also the reason you actually feel the plane sort of shake a little bit when it's landing. I mean, apart from the fact that pilots tend to take manual control of the airplane, but you obviously expect a little bit more turbulence while you're landing than you would in level cruise at 30-something thousand, 40,000 feet. But yeah, if you were to land a Cessna 172 right behind it, it's more prone to losing control due to those vortices, that air turbulence, because Cessna's wings, or many small airplanes, prop planes, wings are much smaller, so they don't have as much surface area to generate lift from, so they're more susceptible to that turbulent airflow. And that's why you don't see them landing at San Francisco International Airport, because that airport gets the really big ones, the Airbus A380, the Boeing 747, the Boeing 777, 787, A330, 40, 50. So that's
Are we
one.
listing airplanes?
Huh?
I was in the restroom.
That's okay. So that's one particular problem.
Actually,
I was gonna say, yeah.
oh no, I was just gonna kind of give an anecdote.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Just to kind of give a scale of the magnitude, there was a couple years back an Airbus A380, basically the world's largest commercial airliner today, was in cruise over the Atlantic while a Cessna Citation, which is a business jet, was flying about 1,000 feet underneath it. And they were in cruise configuration, so they were just kind of chugging along and autopilot heading to their destinations. And the aircraft that was the Citation ended up actually flying underneath the Airbus A380 by 1,000 feet. And these wake vortices that Nikhil was bringing up, they actually tend to sink. So the Citation ran directly into the wake turbulence of the A380, and it actually triggered the airplane to go completely inverted and fall, I think, about 20,000 feet. And the airplane ended up being an actual complete write-off once it touched down. All the passengers were safe, but you can kind of get the magnitude of the situation.
Yeah. Wake turbulence is not something to play around with, especially with the big boy jets. Although I don't imagine, to be fair, I don't think that would be a huge problem with San Jose Airport because it doesn't get a huge volume of traffic and the airplanes are not as big. But it's probably still a problem.
Wait, is A330 considered a heavy aircraft?
Yeah.
I think it is, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. The only one that's
Yeah,
not is the Boeing 757.
The 7.5, okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't KSJC get A330s from like?
They even get 747s on occasion. And
Oh, I saw. Yes.
Yeah.
I saw.
So
I actually saw in real life the Atlas 747 is coming in from Miami.
yeah,
That was pretty cool.
yeah.
But yeah,
I haven't seen the before.
Yeah, I can attest though that when I've personally landed at San Jose a few times, we definitely had to take some precautions to avoid even a Hawaiian Airlines Airbus A321 that was coming in, and that's relatively a small airplane. Well, like in terms of like the A330 and the 747, of course.
For San Jose Airport, that would be considered like average size of planes flying there. But for a place like San Francisco Airport, it's obviously bigger because that place gets more international traffic. So yeah, that's one issue. What was the other issue I was gonna say? Oh, did I already say what the first issue was? The fact that they closed the general aviation runway and that now you can't actually um, easily taxi to the hangar there anymore. I don't know how much general aviation traffic actually happens now at San Jose International, but I think yeah.
Oh no, Nikhil, I was just gonna say, well, I guess another issue you can consider is priority, because all the aircraft that are coming into San Jose are going about 140 miles an hour across the ground, whereas our little they usually don't do more than about 90 in the traffic pattern, and then when they come into land, they're usually only doing about 70 or so. And usually we're going to give priority to the much larger airplanes since they're on a sensitive time schedule. I've had it happen. Excuse me. I've had it happen at San Jose where I would have had to circle. I think the tower said for like a good chunk of time because he had 737s that were spaced 5 miles apart for like the next half hour or so. So we could also run into a lot of problems in terms of getting priority with when negotiating with the Southwest aircraft, because I believe there's a flight inbound from Vegas every 30 minutes into San Jose on Southwest. Add that in with all the traffic from Las Vegas and Los Angeles, all the jet traffic. Then you also have all the other airlines that go in there, and that kind of creates a very big congestion problem. And they're always going to give priority to the big commercial airliners because it's kind of the agreement that the airport has with the airlines itself.
Yeah.
To add on
And
to
we're
that,
speaking in terms of we're speaking in terms of pre-COVID, which by 2031 will probably be back near those levels, if not more, because air travel was healthily and steadily increasing before COVID happened. So we are talking pre-COVID figures.
a fun story I have is that I was on a 5 mile final into San Jose one day, and a Southwest called up because they were on approach and they switched over to tower and they announced their position. They were on a 20 mile final. So I was a 5 mile final, they were a 20 mile final, but I was going approximately like 70, 80 knots, but I don't know how much they're going. But by the time I touched down on the runway and I rolled off the runway, the moment I like got out of the runway, the Southwest touched down right on the touchdown bar. So I was like, they really just caught up to me that fast. And I was like seconds away from making them go around if I didn't exit the runway fast enough.
Yeah.
Mind you, I was taxiing at 55 knots.
55 knots.
Yes,
That is
I
so
touched down.
illegal.
I touched down, right? And I missed the first taxiway, so I was like, I gotta go to the next taxiway. So I didn't bother like slowing down the plane. I didn't touch the brakes. I just let it I just let it like roll, taxiing at 55 knots.
They saw you roll and you were rolling too slow.
Bruh. So, but yeah, as you can see from Henry's and Steven's anecdotes, they've flown into San Jose and they know that this can't be a problem, especially when we go back to pre-COVID figures. But I think the opposition does recognize this because their proposal is to move the REID HILLVIEW planes to Moffett Field, Moffett Air Force Base.
And Moffett people are
Traditionally-
okay with that?
See, traditionally, I would say this is a problem because, when we're talking Moffett Airfield, this is where the president lands. When the president comes to the Bay Area, that's where the president lands. And surrounding Moffett Field is Lockheed Martin offices. And Lockheed Martin obviously stores military secrets. It's part of, that's their company model. And NASA Ames Research Center is there too. NASA is also a government organization, so they're obviously going to have government research secrets being held there. Now, I'm not saying you're going to have a general aviation pilot land there and storm the NASA facility and expose all its secrets. That would be weird. But at the same time, we're talking about an airport surrounded by government or government-related facilities. And the problem will begin to, I would think that the problem would begin to arise once the president lands. Like, how can you ensure that the airport's going to be secure if you have all these civilian-owned general aviation aircraft flying around somewhere on the, I don't know, where would you park them? Like, I can't think of, there's a lot of empty space there. Could park
Oh, we
them.
should just have the president arrive at the REID HILLVIEw. That way, all the REID HILLVIEw people.
If it's
Problem
still
solved.
open.
Some big brain stuff going on right here.
Actually, I mean, if I'm not even mistaken, when sometimes even if Air Force One goes into San Francisco, Reed Hillview basically has to shut down too because of the just how big the TFR is to stop all movement in that area. So like when the Air Force One is landing, I think even Reed Hillview is closed.
Mm.
Yeah, or you have to be on a flight plan that's filed.
Wait, President lands in San Francisco too? Does that happen? I don't remember that happening.
Yeah, no, I've seen it. I've seen Air Force One touch down there before.
So there's like
I got it.
multiple TFR rings. You can't fly into the smallest ring inside.
Oh, quickly
Closest one.
clarify, what's TFR?
TFR is a temporary flight restriction. So the FAA does put these out to stop pilots from flying there to protect certain assets, such as our president or any notable people that are coming in to land there traveling. TFRs are also over Air Force bases and stuff like that if they don't want you to be flying there. And so most likely there's 2 to 3 rings. If you look at Washington D.C., I believe there's 3 rings around the White House. The most inner ring, you're not allowed to fly there. No one's allowed to fly there. If you fly in, bad stuff happens. But the outer 2 ring, I believe, you are allowed to fly through it if you're talking to a controller and if you have a flight plan filed, so they know where you're going.
Yeah. What else do you think about, moving Reed Hillview's airplanes to Moffett Field? Like, the only problem I can think of is the security problem, because admittedly, there's a lot of space there. There's a lot of empty space there. You could actually store all the airplanes
Other than
that go
security,
into.
what do you think of the distance? Like, imagine someone who lives kind of a little south of San Jose, but not like very close to Watsonville, and they're like, well, the closest airport to me is Reed Hillview, and then they move all their stuff to Moffett Field, and now this person living kind of south has to drive all the way up across the whole bay to get to Moffett Field. And then I don't know, what if, like, how free is San Martin and Watsonville? How much room do they have there? Do you think they could just move there?
That actually brings up another opposition argument. I was actually reading this website, this close Reed Hillview website. By the way, there's websites that are promoting both to close it and to open it. I was reading the closing website. Yeah.
No, never mind. It's not what I was gonna say. It's just not worth saying.
I'll let you go after me. What I was just gonna say, Reed Hillview Airport, despite it being a general aviation hub, actually benefits a really small percent of the people that live here. I believe it benefits around 1,700 to 3,400 people in total, or at least pilots and direct aviation-related jobs or purposes at Reed Hillview, which is around like less than 0.1% of the people living in the Santa Clara County. So the opposition argument is, therefore, if it's only inconveniencing a very small amount of people, then that should be okay compared to the amount of people, the 40,000 people that it is inconveniencing right now due to its problems of lead pollution, noise, and
Honestly,
safety concerns of student pilots.
Lead pollution is a pretty serious problem. You really don't want lead in your drinking water. Like, that's what happened in Flint, Michigan, and boy, was it nasty. So if there's a credible risk of lead pollution in our water, then I hate to close airports, but I would support closing it. But because just lead is just not something you mess with, no matter what.
But I think Henry does have a point.
Problem, or like, use unleaded fuel effectively and like spread out so that people don't really need the lead so much, then I would ignore the other arguments and keep the airport. But lead is that one thing that just gets me.
Yeah, Henry.
Yeah, no, and he's absolutely right too. I mean, most things about Reed Hillview most arguments for the closing of Reed Hillview I can kind of overlook, but when it comes to actually the lead portion of it, I completely understand, because it is a toxic substance that can result in birth defects and a lot of pretty terrible things. But I think at the same time, and this was kind of brought to my attention, is the fact that just closing this airport on the lead-based argument alone kind of ignores a lot of developments that are going on in the aviation industry right now. I mean, so here in West Lafayette, Indiana, I think this is super cool. One of my professors actually is a vice president of the operations for a and they've actually already developed a replacement to avgas 100 low lead right now. The FAA is actually considering it as one of the 2 finalists for unleaded fuel. And what's actually, I think, is probably one of the coolest features about it is the fact that, well, it's already being used at multiple FBOs across the country. So this fuel is already being used by general aviation airplanes, 3 of which are actually in California right now. It's being sold, and it's usually actually sold for a whole dollar less than avgas.
Mm-hmm.
So that's awesome.
That's wonderful.
Does
Yeah,
it work on old planes though?
So well, I checked this Swift Fuel's website, and they have actually a really cool tool that you can look up if your airplane is compatible. And so I believe I haven't researched the process all the way 100% through yet. But what I believe you need to do is there is a bit of an add-on that you need to have on your engine, but that add-on itself is only about $100. And I checked my personal that I used for my private training out of aerodynamic aviation. It was a Cessna 172P, and it was in fact compatible with the engine, like coming 0320 D2J, and with pretty much one of the most popular engines in aviation today. So I mean, the gentleman who's was my professor, he estimates that about 65% of the airplanes in this country can use this fuel. So
Wow.
That's great. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
a
sorry,
whole-
but the plane that I
a
have
whole
in
dollar
my
less
garage
than
only runs on pure Fireball whiskey, so that's gonna be a no from me. But
yeah, no, that might not work, but for GA, I think it's a real possibility. I mean, I forget why the FAA hasn't exactly started promoting it yet, but it is definitely being sold. I think it's called 94UL or something along those lines.
I'm gonna look that up.
But when a gentleman test flying in his airplane, and he's the only difference was the engine was burning about 50 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than it normally was, but that's usually a pretty negligible. And so definitely something that the airport can do is kind of just say, we're only going to sell this fuel, and any aircraft based here has to be compatible with this fuel.
Makes sense. I'm not sure about the 94UL because I looked up 94UL and UL94. Now that is a standard for the safety of flammability of plastic materials for parts and devices and appliances testing. So I think there's been a little mix-up with the names.
Oh yeah, if that's the case, what I'd recommend doing is you just look up Swift Fuels in West Lafayette in
Okay, Swift
Indiana.
Fuels.
It's like something UL. I forget the exact designation, but
yeah, no, I don't blame you. These
definitely
weird compounds always
yeah.
got them weird names. Okay.
Yep.
What we do? Hydrogen or no hydrocarbon?
I think it would be cool to like sort of address the airport drawback arguments that I'm seeing on this closed REID HILLVIEW website. Could go through them. Obviously, that is one of the
Swift UL94. You were not that. You were right actually.
Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, something else. JetBlue. This isn't necessarily related to REID HILLVIEW, but San Francisco Airport has become the first airport to start operating with, or to start offering, a new kind of fuel. I forget what it's called. I think it uses algae or some kind of vegetable oil compound. I'm not sure what it is, but JetBlue's using it at San Francisco, and they're the first. And San Francisco is the first airport to carry this out. Now, don't quote me on the exact fuel composition. I need to check that it is, but it's something good.
If JetBlue is using it, clearly A320s are going to like work with it. So That's a good sign because A320, that's a common airplane right there. That like think of all that efficiency, all that sweet
Yeah.
efficiency. If every A320 began running on algae and vegetable oil.
But don't quote me on those exact things. I'm not sure if that's what it is.
Oh yeah, this is just a placeholder for now until you confirm the
Until I
exact.
figure out what it actually is.
Yep.
Let's see.
Figure out what it
Where would it be? JetBlue uses new fuel at SFO or something. Oh, so it is a biofuel. I wasn't wrong there. Carbon neutral. And this actually just happened this year. What? Let's see. Yeah, Neste. So Neste is a company based in Europe. I forget the country. I did search this up though. They are in Finland. Finland. So Neste has come out with a new biofuel that is being trialed over here in San Francisco International Airport, and I think San Francisco is the first one to start using it, and JetBlue is starting to make use of it. It's just that they're not saying what's in it. Although I wouldn't be surprised. They're just trying to aim for carbon neutral though. So basically what we're saying is there is potential for even general aviation fuels not to be, we're going in the unleaded direction, but we could also start seeing fuels being in the general aviation industry by 2030. The development is already happening. The implementation is already starting to happen in the commercial aviation sector. So I think by the time we get to 2030, pollution won't be a huge argument to close REID HILLVIEW. But definitely something, there's obviously other arguments to close REID HILLVIEW. I guess one of the other ones we can talk about is the fact that let's see here. Compared to other possible uses of the land, the airport's contribution, $10 million a year to the overall economy, is nothing compared to how much it is depressing it by a minimum of $1 billion to $2 billion a year. I'm not sure where the billion figures come from. I'm not sure why it's depressing the economy, but what would happen is, or at least the opposition is saying, what would happen is if we close it, we'll be able to turn REID HILLVIEW into a recreational area, make low-income housing, provide several thousand more jobs than what's being offered at REID HILLVIEW right now to make up for this loss in jobs, and quote unquote actually contribute to the community. What do you guys think about that?
Interesting. New jobs. I don't know. New jobs. There's a lot of. My feeling about REID HILLVIEW right now is the same way I feel about gasoline-powered cars. I love them so much, but people are getting rid of them, and honestly, I feel like the people getting rid of them are correct. And I also kind of like, I love electric cars too, the future. But I sure am gonna miss these gas cars, and that's the way I feel about REID HILLVIEW, where I absolutely don't want to get rid of it. But I feel like the other side is making some really good arguments.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's I 100% agree with that because this airport, right? I think about it and just the amount of aviation that has taken place, 1,000 or so trades careers being started is really something tough to lose. And I mean, I do get it because there's a lot of people there. But what I've seen a lot of, and I kind of like this idea because this is kind of, I feel like it's something that makes the Silicon Valley, the east side of San Jose, like, how many places can, or like, how many really cool how many people can say they just live, like about a 5-minute drive from an airport where you can just walk on and
That's
still be able to
true.
look at airplanes without having to deal with security or be worried about where you're parking, etc. So that's kind of one of my takes on it. And what a lot of people are moving to do, or what a lot of people who are proponents of the airport, what they kind of suggest is that the airport learns to be more harmonious with the neighbors, so to speak. And that's kind of one of the steps that we
Yeah,
could take with
that's
that
good.
unleaded fuel. But
Like
yeah,
I love how accessible it makes aviation to the whole community. Cause, like, imagine trying to get on the apron at San Francisco, and like go play with some airplanes. You can't really do that. Um, if
But
you're
realistically, how many people are taking advantage of that?
not that many, but I know the people who are taking advantage of it, those really are going in there. Like in eighth grade, I was an eighth grader, and I was able to take flight lessons at aerodynamic aviation. I went to ground school. I got to walk into the aerodynamic hangar and like look at what they were working on, and like that shaped a large part of my interest in aviation, that I had access to an FBO in eighth grade that I could just walk into, like drive up and walk into every Wednesday night and Saturday morning.
yeah, and I mean, to add on to that, I used to be the office secretary at Aerodynamic, and I've had some kids come in, and I've shown them around the flight line, letting them sit in the airplanes, take pictures, and kind of give them the rundown. I mean, it may not have, and it wasn't always even kids either. It was just people kind of just moving into the area who were looking to do flight training and all that. We even have a lot of international students that come in because I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% on the regulations about it, but I believe in some other countries, general aviation actually isn't even permitted, making
Yeah,
flight
general
training
aviation,
difficult and more small. Yeah, yeah, it's kind of just to the point where
especially like Europe and
airports like
Wait,
HILLVIEW are
Yuvraj,
the only
Yuvraj,
option.
wait. Henry, I think you're cutting out a lot.
yeah.
Is it your internet?
Most likely here. Let me see if I can change that a bit.
Oh, now he sounds fine when he's talking about his crappy internet.
It's
Yeah,
always when you talk about your bad internet, you sound better.
right?
Oh,
Oh, I
are we
think.
on approach or something? Or
Yeah, we're currently on descend. I'm not sure
mm,
if the bit rate's gonna go back down, but it was stable for a while.
Hmm. Yeah, don't worry about the bitrate. It's just
yeah.
if it's as long as it's not affecting
Actually,
YouTube.
never mind. It is affecting YouTube.
Oh,
Sorry,
can we
guys.
stop our videos?
No, no, no. You can keep your videos. Your videos are still on YouTube.
Oh,
It works.
Yeah.
sure.
Just let us know when you're about to turn on to final or something.
Mhm.
We plan to have this discussion until
We're
you
approximately like 5
basically
minutes out
shut the plane.
to landing.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. What other point could we address? I mean, still, like, what about, like, right, you could say, there's a lot of opportunities you could take advantage of to engage the youth in something that looks cool. Like, airplanes look cool. Like, kids look at the sky and see airplanes, and they're probably fascinated by it more often than not. But what about, why not just have a recreational park that, like, or like a theme park or something that also excites kids, right? And does it without lead poisoning, which we already talked about is probably not going to be much of by 2030, but
Themed theme park.
oh, and without the propeller noise flying all over the schools, like, and creates more jobs. What do you do about that? Like, we have to do a lot of meet in the middle kind of thing, because REID HILLVIEW does have problems.
You have to watch out for the unreasonable man, though. It's like, the person who says, "Oh, just meet me in the middle," as they take a step back.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's where you get into politics, and it's like, oh god, where's the middle? Is the middle on the left or on the right? That's what the argument is.
Everybody stay where you are and then meet each other in the middle.
That's not moving to the middle.
That's staying where they are. That's true.
You see the problem with trying to meet in the middle.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
let's say
meeting-
no. Let's push for an idealized future. How can we meet in the middle on this one with REID HILLVIEW's problems? We already talked about fuel. How can we
What if
make
what
REID
about-
HILLVIEW something bigger than just a
Uh,
recreational airport?
What about
Like, I don't mean physically bigger, but
expanding San Martin,
where's that?
San Martin.
San Martin? San
Oh
Martin?
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
You
it's
see,
not really south
I-
of here.
They could expand it because technically the airport cannot support all of us going there, because one, they don't have a control tower, and two, they only have one runway. And
Right.
for me right now, whenever I fly there, sometimes I've seen up to like 8 people in the pattern just for one runway, and it's really like really crowded. And if you move more people there, I'm not trying to suggest a bad thing, but I'm gonna predict that if we all move there and everyone starts like flying at the same time, we're gonna get bad, situations that airplanes are gonna get into without like a control tower.
And also, kind of going off of that, San Martin. I think the FAA actually, if I think Reed Hillview, if it does close, the FAA was planning to put a control tower in there, and I think there are expansion plans for San Martin. The only thing that I really have to say about that is that San Martin is a lot like Reed Hillview in the sense that it's located to a relatively close to a residential population. So, I mean, inevitably we're going to run into the same problems that we have at Reed Hillview. We haven't really faced anything. We've kind of just delayed the inevitable in terms of just moving the problem south. But eventually, Morgan Hill's growing fast. The whole Bay Area is growing fast, so that's a problem we're going to run into eventually. And
That's
also
the
to tack,
existential aviation
yeah,
problem.
and to tack on to Steven's thing, at Purdue we have Lafayette Purdue University Airport, and we have two runways and a control tower. But I can tell you right now, coming from an exclusively or mostly flight training airport with a singular active runway most times, a control tower sometimes doesn't even make a difference in the amount of traffic. And just like I've had people who have had to go on a 5 mile downwind leg extension just to let in all the other traffic come in. So it is definitely, there are a lot of hurdles that would have to be crossed in order to close Reed Hillview.
Yeah, that makes sense.
By the way, friends, we're about to join downwind.
Okay. Do you think the hurdles would be economic or political?
I would put my money on a little bit of both.
Yeah. Wait, I was about to say something. Like, but do you guys think there's a way like Reed Hillview could be more of a service to the Evergreen community? Because I get the point that yeah, it's not really benefiting that many people. It's benefiting a really small amount of people, albeit really passionate people. It's benefiting us, but we're just like 5 people streaming on YouTube on Project AVIATE, right? What is that compared to the tens of thousands of people in our community? We need to make Reed Hillview something
We
bigger.
need to influence people to love aviation and make use of Reed Hillview and thus save Reed Hillview in the process.
That's
Yeah,
pretty accurate.
that's easy.
Yeah,
Easier said
that's
than
the
done.
feasible plan.
The
Well,
feasible plan.
what I've heard as another potential is actually starting to use, because I mean there is a good portion of Reed Hillview property that isn't really used well right now per se. Like if you think about it, on the northeast side of the airport, there's a really big plot of land that just kind of sits there and is completely dormant. So I mean, there could be some developments that can be put on there. Perhaps we could put a classroom or two in the terminal building for like technological visits, things like that, more outreach. I think the main thing that I've heard about Reed Hillview and like how they could develop it for the community is basically just to make it more accessible. Put a couple buildings out there just so that more people can visit. For other things, I believe already there's like an insurance company that's based out of there on the northeast side of the airport. But I think the main thing was that they would just put in more like business parks and bike trails that go right by the airport.
That would be.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would love that because I am a biker and I love airplanes. So watching planes land while riding my bike, well, what else do you want?
Highlight is jobs, though, right? I think Henry was saying Google owns a chunk of Moffett Field. What if we try and bring tech company influence to the Reed Hillview and sort of make it a place for corporate transportation, like or expand that a little bit and expand the tech business here in South San Jose?
Maybe
And
Apple or Intel or something could.
and because we need to create mass jobs. The 40,000 people, the 40,000 residents surrounding Reed Hillview right now are not very high income. Like it's kind of a poorer neighborhood compared to like the place is way outside of Reed Hillview, and I guess that naturally happens because many people like turn away from living here because of Reed Hillview Airport, which is kind of sad. But we're also worried though, if you close it, you might raise housing prices if you just suddenly throw houses there. That's the only thing that would happen.
That's gonna drive people out.
Yes, it's like a one way or the other thing. So I think the meat and the is to find a way to make Reed Hillview do more, and we'll have solved the pollution problem by a good chunk by 2030, I would think. So we're just missing that piece of it, the community. By the way, Steven, where are you on your approach?
About a touchdown, like
All right.
a couple seconds away from touchdown.
Nice.
All right, we're gonna judge you now.
Oh, I'm not.
Moment of silence for this butterization attempt.
That was a butter.
Oh yeah, I'm about to see it. The YouTube stream itself is like 15 seconds behind.
Yeah, is it on final right now?
Yeah, you're
All
pressing
right,
the numbers.
Extra oily.
I like the sound of the touchdown when you hear the tires.
Mm-hmm.
How is the flight physics in Microsoft Flight Simulator? Like, based on what I've seen, I'm not really a fan.
It's the turbulence. I'm not a fan of the turbulence. It just yanks your plane around a lot.
Mm.
How are you controlling it right now?
The Xbox controller.
Oh my god. So then that was a really really good landing for an Xbox controller.
Yeah,
Like,
but better than keyboard landing because you can't use mouse in this game simulator.
oh really?
There's no mouse
that's really
support.
bad.
You have to use WASD.
Lost.
And friends, this is why you have a taxi truck because I have no idea how to get off this runway.
Oh, whatever. Right?
And I'm not.
Okay, here's the way to taxi. Here's how you do it. You look around, where's the terminal? And then just kind of, point your plane that way on the right taxiway. You just kind of, does this taxiway point that way? And then take the taxiway that points that way the best. And you'll eventually make it there.
So they've improved
how I go
ATC a
about,
lot in this game.
Moving on Chicago O'Hare. That's how it's done.
I don't know.
If you get stuck in a corner somewhere, you just put on reverse thrust.
Bruh, Cessna reverse thrust.
Yeah, you just get in there, flip some gears around, and before you know it, your propeller's spinning backwards.
So apparently, last time I came here, I actually flew here for a cross country last week, and I wasn't paying attention. But my dad, who was sitting next to me, said that he saw some military helicopters. He said he saw, I think it's called.
Chinook?
No, he saw a Black Hawk and a Apache.
An Apache?
Yeah.
Wait, where?
Here at Paso Robles, because
Paso
I mean,
Robles?
yeah, I can see why. Because there's a MOA. MOA stands for Military Operation Area.
Military
It's
Operation
right
Area.
west of the airport. I'm just gonna find a place
Wow.
to park, but
Is there an Air Force base there?
I don't. Maybe more down south, because this is
Dude,
halfway
where
to
is
LA.
Paso Robles?
It's halfway to LA.
Oh, the skyline colors are beautiful.
Yeah, I took some.
Microsoft-
I took some
Microsoft visuals are
pictures. I took some
nice.
pictures on the way. Actually, I took some pretty beautiful pictures yesterday on a test stream that I'm probably gonna post to the AVIATE Instagram. So
Yo, make sure to follow us on, what is our account? Is it just Project AVIATE?
I
On
think so.
Instagram. Yeah.
the thing is, there is no tower at this airport. It is an uncontrolled airport. But I think the reason why we hear ATC right now is because it's echoed to the ground. Class Echo is actually controlled airspace, so that's probably why I'm hearing them talking. But technically, they don't really control you while you're on the ground, so. I thought it was
Yeah.
kinda
Nobody
weird.
controls me because I live in America.
Freedom from air traffic control.
Oh, there's like a
Impressive.
military. Oh, there's an air museum of like military planes at the bottom right corner of Paso Robles Airport.
Yeah.
We shall
Well,
shut
yeah.
down now.
Well, guys, do you guys have any closing arguments about the potential closure of Reed Hillview Airport?
Nope. Just I'm not looking forward to it, but I feel like it's for the best.
So
Like
speaking
getting
of
the
that,
surgery
actually,
done.
yeah. So as we said in the beginning of the stream, it's not official, that Reed Hillview is going to close. The Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors is going to go for another vote early next year, 2021, when the next EPA report comes out. I don't imagine Reed Hillview will improve its lead emission conditions in like a few months, but definitely in a few years when we get that unleaded fuel going, as Yuvraj and Henry was talking a lot about, as we get more aviation biofuels going, this is definitely a problem that will be mitigated over definitely, I would argue, by 2030, which is the earliest that Reed Hillview can close because the land grants that have been given by the FAA require Santa Clara County to keep Reed Hillview open until 2031. Sorry, 2031. And so, yeah, we hope that over the next few years, the votes will start to swing in favor of keeping it open if Reed Hillview can improve its conditions. And I think with the right amount of pressure, and I'm glad that the close Reed Hillview side exists because they're pointing out real problems with our airport that we can aim to fix and aim to meet in the middle for and make the airport more useful for the community. And that's something we strive to do here at Project AVIATE. We want aviation to be more fun and accessible to the community, and that's why we're here goofing off on YouTube. So yeah, we hope more general aviation airports can go down as well. Any other final comments?
Nope. I think that's all good.
So yeah, our next chill stream will be talking about the Boeing 737 Max. You might have heard on the news that one
Well, that's
has
gonna
been
be
approved by the FAA to fly again, and that one's going to be
heard
really
that.
spicy to talk about.
You know what? I was gonna say some gossip that I heard about the 737 Max right now, but I'm gonna save it for next show stream.
Yeah, let's save it for the next show stream. We will let you guys know when the next show stream is. Hopefully, maybe in the next few weeks. Hopefully, we can get that ready. And don't forget to subscribe and like Project AVIATE. Touch down on the subscribe and like buttons. My bad. And yeah, take care. Have a great evening. Happy early Thanksgiving to everyone. Thank you for joining us on this big rant discussion of Reed Hillview. Yeah. Take care, everyone.
Bye bye.